Drop the Gun is an intervention initiative to prevent active shooter incidences. And more broadly, it addresses gun violence in all its forms with particular attention to the schools. It is about intervening before violence ensues and initiating a healing process for those who hurt from such wounds. Our schools have been infected with wide-ranging gun violence, some of which are accidental. An example of such is unintentional discharge and stray bullets. Concurrently, the other is the far more worrying type intended, such as mass shooting, gun homicide, non-fatal assault, and firearm suicide. Educators, parents, and students live with the reality of school shootings. The school and workplace gun violence continue to have a lasting consequence for millions of Americans. Moreover, the inexplicable connections between these two, especially the active shooters, are that the guns used in school-based violence often come from the shooters' or family or friends' homes. While putting the school and workplace into context, the active shooters have prior knowledge of their crime environment. However, more painfully, most of these shooters show warning signs of potential violence, the majority of which were avertible if families and cohorts had been selfless enough. Every year, over 3,000 students are shot and killed. Another 15,000 are shot at and injured, just probably because over 4 million Americans are in various ways exposed to gunshots. It is only pertinent that we create a more friendly and systematic means to deal with this trauma to create an ambience of peace and harmony driven by forgiveness and love. Consequently, Drop the Gun will provide the respite required because it will peacefully empower to influence actions that will address gun violence in schools and prevents it from occurring in the first place. Such influence will engender tremendous change that our nation deserved by appreciating our individual and collective mental strength engendered towards respect for life, ethical family values, constant reminder that we are all responsible for one another, recognizing that violence is self-destructive and self-defeating, that nothing is gained by violence, and so much is lost. Promote peaceful reconciliation and coexistence. Emphasize the strength in acts of kindness and affection. The cloud-based dimension of this project substantially utilizes virtual means. It creates an ambience of confidence, openness, and trust. Guaranteed by this protected confidentiality, the information would be honest and adequate, intervention would be respectful, meaningful, timely, and the result would be collective and inexpensive. Ultimately, bringing forth a significant drop in gun violence and enhanced moral values. There are various modules to help each student navigate through different types of scenarios of multiple concerns. Most of these modules are projected in short films and documentaries, significantly exposing and dissecting gun violence and the adverse influence of hurt, anger, revenge, unforgiveness, and cold love. Furthermore, how to effectively deal with all the different scenarios. With such stimulating epics, candidates are expected to attempt various case studies that may feature at appropriate intervals in each module. Each candidate has a uniquely generated passcode identity through which access is granted to the platform. Thus, only appointed astute counsels can access answers provided, carefully responding while observing any red flag. Expectedly, fears will be tamed, and there will be less judgment. Jail terms avoided, prisons decongested. Shooting incidences will reduce drastically, and a majority will heal from their bitterness, humility, and love will reign, families will be happy, and more lives saved. Moreover, it will be a thing of joy to experience safer schools once again, address violence at its earliest stages and entreat for the blocking of easy access to firearms by those who would harm. Drop the Gun has taken the initiative to promote a more profound act of charity. Know that the gun is not just a weapon incorporating a metal tube from which bullets are propelled by explosive force, but more often, our silence, words, and actions are even more piercing than gunshots. Therefore, it is paramount to remind us that true freedom is not a right to do as we so wish but to do as we ought, irrespective of the pain or pleasure. Freedom has boundaries. In conclusion, we, therefore, need meaningful actions to keep our schools safe because we cannot afford more avoidable bloodsheds. Let's comfort those who hurt and bridge the gap of the divide within us, knowing that life is precious. We need you to come on board. Let's drop the guns and melt with love.